Today we honored 14 recipients of the Gold Awards, which is the Governor's Outstanding Leadership and Disability Awards.
We're gathered here to honor outstanding individuals and organizations that have gone above and beyond to represent individuals with disabilities, whether it be advocacy or volunteer work or public service, or whether they're elected official or service animal. And we just want to take the time to recognize those individuals that go out there and make things better for the hardworking people of Louisiana.
We have Teacher of the Year, Volunteer of the Year, we have a Distinguished Merit Award. We also have Animal of the Year Award. So we have an array of awards that we give to people, very deserving people who are leaders in disability in the state.
We actually had 2 new awards this year, Public Servant of the Year and Elected Official of the Year. And again, the reason why we added those 2 is because there's so many people that do work, and we want to make sure that they were being recognized.
We are basically a bridge between the population, the general public, and the governor and other policymakers. So we're really advocates for people with disabilities. When we look at policies and look at just direct services for people with disabilities, we help in all those ways.
The way we find out about these individuals, we have applications that are sent out earlier in the year, and I think the nominations start from maybe since January or February, and they end till about September or October. And anyone all across the state, someone can nominate them. They just put in a letter of support, and they can also send as many letters of support from anyone else. Just to provide some more information about that person. The work that they do, it requires a lot of time, a lot of effort, okay? And the thing is a lot, for the most part, is volunteer. And, people should see and honor and recognize those individuals that are working day in and day out passionately to advocate for individuals with disabilities and for all Louisianans. We would like to welcome you to the Old State Capitol for the 2017 Gold Award ceremony. This is an annual event that recognizes extraordinary individuals and organizations that have made significant contributions which have benefited the lives of persons with disabilities in Louisiana. Thank you for being here today as we honor these outstanding individuals who make Louisiana proud. It's their advocacy and dedication which drives our office to work as hard as we can to better serve the hardworking people of Louisiana. Earlier this morning, we recognized the individuals that placed in our 2017 Inclusive Art Contest. This year's theme for our Inclusive Art Contest is Together We Succeed. The artwork submitted helped bring greater awareness of the importance of inclusion in today's society. At this time, I would like to introduce the Executive Director for the Governor's Office of Disability Affairs, Bambi Palazzolo. And it has been an honor and a privilege to work with her. She's a passionate advocate who is dedicated to her work and the people she serves. Please help me in giving a hand to Bambi Palazzolo.
Thank you, Jolyn. Good morning. Again, thank you for being here to honor many of our leaders in disability issues. I want to begin by recognizing those in attendance today who serve on disability-related boards, councils, and commissions. Would you please identify yourself by standing up or raising your hand or having someone recognize you? It is through our efforts collectively that we make progress. On Monday, Governor Edwards said in a speech that we all know that victories don't come easy, and they are created through a lot of hard work, but most importantly, through teamwork. And there is no victory that satisfies more than a victory that is shared. That is what this award program is about, a celebration of victories that we all can share. While we celebrate victories as disability advocates, we know that many times we face barriers and feel frustration because the progress we know is needed doesn't come quick enough. About a month ago, my supervisor, Bruce Parker, shared a quote with me that he said reminded him of our work as disability advocates. The quote is, "We ask for nothing that is not right. And herein lies the great power of our demand." The Gold Award recipients embodies that. They work hard for what's right, they know what's right, and they have realized their power. For that, Gold Award recipients, I hope you enjoy this ceremony that celebrates you and empowers others. At this time, I want to thank the Director of Community Programs, Bruce Parker, and our Deputy Chief of Staff, Johnny Anderson, who believe in and actively support our work on behalf of people with disabilities. And now it is my privilege to introduce our next speaker. Governor John Bel Edwards and First Lady Donna Edwards have always been champions for people with disabilities. Their joint presence here again this year demonstrates their priorities. They are sincere in the support of the work that we are here today to recognize and to celebrate. It is an honor for me to present to you the governor of our great state, Governor John Bel Edwards.
These awards recognize outstanding leadership in our communities on behalf of people with disabilities. And I want to thank all of the award recipients here today for your service to the citizens of our state. And Bambi, I want to thank you so much for everything you do in leading the Governor's Office of Disability Affairs and everything that your staff does. When I tell you a tireless champion, somebody who always brings issues to the forefront when they were important to this particular community, that is Bambi. And I couldn't be more proud of the work that you're doing. So thank you for everything. Today's award recipients have each in their own way helped to make Louisiana a better place for all of our citizens to live. But especially, obviously, those individuals who are living with a disability. And they do that by expanding educational opportunity, providing workplaces that are more inclusive and fair, and they work to support families so that their loved ones may remain in their homes and in their communities. Many are familiar faces at the Capitol, advocating on behalf of the disability community. There are people here that I've got to know 10 years ago when I was first elected to the House of Representatives, and I have seen them multiple times every year since because of their passion and their dedication. We've got Ashley McReynolds as one of those yellow shirt wearing leaders, very effective statewide coordinator for LeCan. I want to thank Ashley. Of course, Liz is here and so many others. There's also Representative Patricia Smith, who uses her voice, her leadership, and yes, her vote within the Capitol chambers to be an outstanding champion for people with disabilities. And I'm also really impressed by, first of all of the award recipients, but this year's Volunteer of the Year winner, Trach Mamas of Louisiana. First of all, I like the name. During last year's historic floods, both in March and in August, Trach Mamas worked to assist the families of people with complex medical needs by having medical equipment donated and flown in from around the country. And now in the aftermath of the hurricanes that hit Texas and Florida and Puerto Rico, and thankfully we didn't get much of those hurricanes. We got a little piece of the one that went to the Texas, and we got a little piece of Hurricane Nate later on. But they are working so hard to step up and provide support for our neighbors. Because you all can remember, especially after Hurricanes Katrina and Rita, how the people of the United States, really people from around the world, came to our help here. And so I really appreciate what they're doing. As governor, my administration has worked very hard to listen to the needs of the disability community, and we strive to meet those needs. And it's harder than we want it to be for a number of reasons. We are more constrained fiscally than we would want to be. But I want you to know we are doing everything that we can, and we're going to continue to work harder and smarter to deliver even more. One way in which we've been doing this is to ensure there's a sign language interpreter at my press events. So thank you very much for being here. But every single press event, and because it's important, because if I'm speaking about something that's important enough to have a press conference, then it's something that everybody ought to be able to get that information. But that's especially true if we're talking about an emergency, and I'm imparting information about what people should do, and in order to potentially save their lives. And so having the sign language interpreters there have been very, very important. I understand that we still have a long ways to go. We've got a lot of work to do, but that's why we're going to keep working together to recognize the outstanding leadership in our communities, and hopefully that will foster even more people to step up and lead in their communities in ways that will be beneficial overall to folks with disabilities and to their families. And I want to congratulate every single recipient of the 2017 Gold Awards. And Donna and I appreciate so much everything that you're doing for Louisiana. And I can tell you that we are inspired by your devotion. You know, there are so many great people in Louisiana across the state doing so much work, but there's none of it that's more important than what you all do, the people in this room, and I recognize that, and I just want to tell you from the very bottom of my heart how much I appreciate what you all are doing. And you're doing it to make Louisiana a better place for everybody. And we focus on those with disabilities, but the work you're doing is improving the quality of life for everybody in our state, whether or not they have disabilities. And so I just want to thank you for that. It's a pleasure to be here with you all. And whatever we can do going forward, please don't hesitate to contact us to let us know. That's why we are serving. And I also want to tell you that, and I'm glad we were able to take pictures earlier. I think we took pictures with everybody. I do have, and I apologize for this, I have a hard stop at 10:30 because we are, Dr. Gee and I, she just walked in, she's the Secretary of the Louisiana Department of Health. We're going to be going to North Baton Rouge to cut the ribbon and open a brand new emergency room because for several years North Baton Rouge has not had an emergency room, and that is scheduled for a little later this morning. So I'm going to be leaving to do that, to go over and make sure that we're better caring for some other folks in Louisiana in terms of their health care. So if I don't get an opportunity to speak to you all individually, please understand that I appreciate everything that you're doing. I would ask that you continue to work with us and continue to pray for our state and for our country. The political discourse around this country is not what we would want it to be right now, and we can do better. We are doing better than that in Louisiana, but we cannot follow that example that's being set for us out of Washington. We need to be Louisianans first and foremost, and we need to be concerned about our brothers and our sisters. God bless you. Thank you very much.
It is an honor to present the Employer of the Year Award to Dr. Kathy Lazarus and Ms. Bethany Matthews on behalf of University Medical Center. Dr. Lazarus is the Chief Academic Officer of University Medical Center, Associate Dean for Student Affairs, and Professor of Medicine of the LSU New Orleans School of Medicine, and is a Fellow of the American College of Physicians. Ms. Bethany Matthews is the Director of Human Resources of University Medical Center, New Orleans. In August of 2014, Dr. Lazarus and a key community service administrator requested a meeting with Transition and Employment Division at LSU Health's Human Development Center. The plan was to discuss creating better access to employment within the UMC system. Discussions continued, and in December 2016, Dr. Lazarus facilitated meetings with human resource administrators and key administrative personnel that led to the implementation of the post-secondary apprenticeship for youth pilot known as Paycheck. The apprentices, all consumers of Louisiana Rehabilitation Services, have been part of the first of its kind project in the United States and quite possibly the world. The model was notably published in the Journal of Vocational Rehabilitation and was a featured presentation at the 2017 National Association of People Supporting Employment First Conference in Portland, Oregon this past summer. Ms. Matthews' commitment to our partnership was clear from the outset. She worked with UMC department managers to identify areas of need for additional employees throughout the hospital.
Good morning. I am extremely proud to present the Trach Mamas of Louisiana with the 2017 Volunteer of the Year Award. These two dynamic ladies provide excellence through their emergency response and advocacy efforts. This group works to support people with all disabilities that had been affected by emergencies or disasters through their network of collaborative partnerships.
We are privileged and honored to be a bridge for those who need us, whether it's emotional support, guidance, or supplies. And having been a Katrina survivor and knowing what it's like to be without our supplies, to be able to provide to those who need something, especially after a disaster. And we wouldn't be able to do everything we do, first of all, without all the services we receive. And Dr. Gee and Mark Thomas and Governor, you know all the services I'm talking about.
South LaRose Elementary nominated the Pierce family for Family of the Year. We proudly nominated this family for their dedication, community involvement, cohesive family unit, and the challenges they have endured due to having a daughter and sister with a disability. The Pierce family supports one another on a daily basis just to get through the day with 10 siblings.
Marcella, like we talked about 3 years ago, was struck with a virus and paralyzed, and she teaches me every day. You know, when I'm feeling, ill and struggling, don't want to get up, little aches and pains. I look at her and I'm like, you know what? This is nothing. You have to reach and look to her for motivation. But she's taught our family how to love even deeper, because we all, and all of these kids here, they give of themselves, and love is a gift. Love is how much you're able to give of yourself to someone else, and she has taught us that. So I'm truly honored, and thank you so much.
So on behalf of the staff of the Office for Citizens with Developmental Disabilities, our executive management team, we took time to nominate our boss, Mark Thomas, not because we wanted raises. I wish the governor was still here to hear that, but not seriously, but not because he is truly deserving of this honor. He is a leader, he's an innovator, he's always looking to how our system can be the best system for individuals in our state with intellectual and developmental disabilities. He understands firsthand the challenges and the rewards of caring for those that he's charged with serving as the state's director for disability services. Under his leadership, he is responsible for 1,400 employees located across the state. He directly oversees an operating budget of more than $143 million, in addition to the operation and management and oversight of the 4 home and community-based waivers that you hear so much about, and those have programmatic expenditures of $469 million. He's also tasked with the public intermediate care facility, which is the last in the state, and that has an operating budget of $247 million. He's also tasked with policy and direction for all of the human services districts and authorities, matters pertaining to OCDD's programs, which include early steps, money follows the person, state-funded services, policy development, quality management, rate and audit, the resource centers, and all of the services and supports for participants with developmental disabilities. Our agency roughly serves 12,000 participants through its waivers and state-funded services. The Early Steps program alone serves more than 8,000 children annually.
Let me first say, Tiffany, that was so great, it almost got you a raise. Folks, let me first say, as a person of faith, how blessed I am to be in this position, to serve with many great colleagues here. For many of us that serve, this is not just a job, but this is a ministry. And I count it so much of an honor to be entrusted with this opportunity to enhance the quality of life for persons with developmental disabilities and their families. I would first like to thank the governor, excuse me, for appointing me and giving me this opportunity, and all of those folks who supported that. So thank you, and I am very humbled. I would miss my boss, Dr. Gee, for choosing me to serve on her leadership team. She is such a dynamic leader. She is visionary, she's passionate, and it's my privilege to serve under her. I'm very thankful for our deputy as well, Ms. Michelle Aleto. First, she is New York cool, and so I appreciate that. But, you know, Michelle has come along, and she has really embraced the values of our disability community, the values of inclusion, self-determination, employment. And not only has she done that, she's inspired us to expand those values. So thank you for your leadership, and thank you for giving us the opportunity to grow and the space to excel on behalf of these individuals and their families. I'm also thankful for our management team, those that were able to make it here today. Mr. Charles Ells, our deputy, Mr. Craig Ganucci, he's not here today, could not make it. Ms. Julie Foster, the other deputy in our office, Dr. Brandy Kelly, who's our clinical director, and Tiffany, who's our executive management officer. I am so blessed to work with ability. And I said, what is he getting at? My wife said he wants to know if Uncle Michael has a disability. And from there, I realized that they're a part of this journey as well. And so thankful for those folks. And then our staff. I do accept this on behalf of our entire Office for Citizens with Developmental Disabilities, such great, wonderful, passionate staff who come every day to serve and to work hard on behalf of these individuals. And lastly, I would like to thank those individuals and their families who allow us every day to come to work to serve. And for our staff, they know it's very important that we recognize that the individuals and their families, they're not here for us, we're here for them. We work for them. These are the reasons why we're dedicated and so forth. So hopefully you feel that we're doing our very best to serve you, and I'm so honored to be named a Public Servant of the Year, and thank you for allowing me to serve you. God bless you.
Bella's amazing in and of herself. She was all set to be a star. She was selected and being trained in, what do you call it, Caroline? Tell me again. 3-day eventing, which to horse people means a multitude of abilities. And she herself was injured and considered disabled and not able to compete with others. But God had much more glorious plans for Bella than for her to receive awards in competitions. He had plans for her for children and adults who could benefit from her unique and marvelous ways.
Thank you all so much for having us here. I'm honored to accept this award on behalf of Bella. She is one of the most fun horses I've had the honor of caring for the last 10 years. She's an incredibly passionate horse who has been helping children and adults with disabilities for the last 10 years. She's a barn favorite with our students, instructors, and volunteers. Bella's kind spirit, patience, and eagerness to help make her a true champion for people with disabilities.
I'm privileged to be here to recognize Lillian Dejean, who is receiving the 2017 Youth of the Year Award. She was diagnosed with mitochondrial disease, and it's had a serious impact on her. What mito means to Lillian is that she runs out of energy much faster than her friends do. It means that she has digestive problems and has to supplement her diet through a feeding tube. But if you know Lillian, you know that the hum that surrounds her comes from the equipment in the cool backpacks that she wears that carry her feeding equipment.
I'm immensely grateful that I'm being recognized for the things I've done and the experiences I really, really cherish. Because when you own a body that decides when it wants to function and when it doesn't, Your voice is your biggest asset. I would like to thank the people of my village, especially the ones present today, because by letting me have a voice, they taught me how to use it. Thank you.
I am honored to present our Military Veteran of the Year, Mr. Ken Carmouche. I had the pleasure of teaching Mr. Ken in our English class as a participant in the Veterans Upward Bound program at UL Lafayette. Afterwards, Mr. Ken made the decision to return to college and pursue his degree in business administration. During this time, he worked a full-time job at the U.S. Post Office, took care of his family, earned the distinction of the Dean's List, was a member of the Beacon Club, named a Ronald E. McNair Scholar, and was a participant in the Student Support Services Disability Program.
I want to thank everyone who have participated and supported me so many years. When I came out of the Army in '86, I immediately went work for United States Postal Service. And after 7 years of working with the Postal Service, I had another back injury, which took me out of work for 13 years. I walked 13 years with a walking aid and had chronic depression and didn't know what my future would be like until my wife and I adopted our 2 grandkids.
I'm here to introduce you to present the Elected Official of the Year Award to Representative Smith. In recent legislative session, we were able to accomplish great things that have permitted or benefited the Louisiana deaf, deafblind, and hard of hearing community.
I've been in the legislature now for 10 years. As a voice on the Appropriations Committee, the voice of the disability community is heard every single year. But the special voice that I began to hear was when the governor gave me the appointment to the Louisiana Deaf Commission. It was an involvement that I'd never been in before. I became the voice of the true voiceless. This is such a great opportunity to be able to converse, to hear, to listen to these individuals who are so passionate about deaf culture. We have a number of deaf individuals in the state of Louisiana, and this past year, their advocacy has risen to the top. And I'm truly grateful for the friendship that the governor has allowed me to now have, a lifelong friendship of individuals such as Jay, and Paula, Melanie, Jimmy, and all of those who sit at the table and talk about how their lives are as a person who is deaf in Louisiana, and what we in Louisiana can do to improve their community. I too humbly accept this award, but I can tell you that you've never met such passionate people without a voice who tell you how they feel, who feel how you can feel how they feel. So I am so grateful for knowing them, working with them, and loving them. And I'm hoping that for the next years that I'm in the legislature and even beyond, that I can truly again be their advocate and their voice, the voice of the voiceless in the deaf community. Thank you so much.
Ms. Julie Bourgeois retired from the public school system several years ago and could have basically stayed home and enjoyed life. However, she was approached by the superintendent of Lafourche Parish about being the director of the Virtual Academy of Lafourche. She jumped at the chance because she felt that there were a number of students that could benefit from the program like Val. She never imagined it would grow into the size it is today.
I want to take this opportunity to tell you how truly humbled I am to be in the company of all of today's recipients. And really, the work that you do for the disabilities community is truly amazing. I need to thank the two people who taught me all about love and compassion, and that's my mom and my dad.
I am April Lee. I am the director at Arc of Acadiana Northwest, which is located in Bossier City. I have been there for 19 years. 5 years ago, we were a state facility, and then we privatized 5 years ago with Arc of Acadiana coming in and taking over services. In the last couple of years, we've done a lot of work to kind of change our services and gear them more towards medically complex issues. We provide 24-hour nursing care, so we support people with trachs, pegs, seizure disorders, diabetes, and so on. Our hopes is that we can be an alternate placement for people that would normally go to nursing homes.
First of all, I would like to say it is an honor to be here today, and I would like to send a special thank you to everyone who had nominated me today, and a special shout out to Miss April Lee. And I would like to thank the Arc of Arcadia for allowing me to be an employer at the Arc of Arcadia, and not knowingly that I have, where it has been within, to have love and compassion to help anyone that's in need of help. And with that being said, I would like for all of our great works and changing lives of others for the better to continue. And thanks once again for nominating me. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Mary Lynn Bislin, the Executive Director of Terrebonne Arc, and I'm not only the nominator of my organization, but I will be here to receive this prestigious award, and I'm very thrilled to be here with all of you who are so deserving in every way. Kind of grew up with Mark Thomas when he was a provider, and of course with Janet, who is Arc of Caddo Bossier. She's the queen of the arcs. And Cindy Lulla with Arc of Acadiana, so we are well represented today. I just want to say that in 2007, when I became executive director, I had already been with my organization for 20 years, so I have 30 years with the agency. Became executive director and immediately realized that what was coming down the pike was in Louisiana becoming an employment first state. When it came to many meetings with OCDD, and went back to my agency and told my leadership staff, it's coming, we need to close our sheltered workshop. We need to get rid of sheltered employment, but it's going to take us time. And so we started right away, and one of the thinking outside the box was, let's create businesses. We can go out and we can get as many independent jobs as possible for those people who can, we can find those jobs for, and we have done that with Creative Employment Opportunities, which is our LRS arm of our agency. And then we decided we would build businesses out in the community, integrated in the community to provide jobs for all the people that wanted to work in our vocational programs. And I'm happy to say that we are operating 14 businesses, all of which are in the community in some way. And I think, Mark, we have 2 more years. 2019, they will all be, anybody who wants to work will be out in the community. They will work in one of 4 thrift stores that bring in a revenue of over $500,000 a year. And those 4 thrift stores are in North, South, East, and West Terrebonne Parish. So we have found places where we can, and they're very well run. The clients operate those facilities with the help of a manager, and they all make minimum wage, which is the goal. Our restaurant has been in operation since 1982. And it is open to the community, and we're getting ready to build a new restaurant. In this down economy, we're going to make a way so that we can hire and put more individuals to work in that field of food service. Also, we decided one day that, you know, if you make it, they will eat it. So we're high in the food service type of industry. We have a bakery called Cajun Confections that manufactures candy, and we have 21 places that we deliver our candy to. We have a Cajun Confections bakery that in 1 month makes 30 to 40,000 products. That is all done by individuals with disabilities. They all have a job and they all know their jobs and they're very good at it. So we're always looking for things that the people that we serve can be successful with. We are getting ready to open up, we just broke ground on a new building. It's going to house the Cajun Confections businesses out in the community. We will have it'll be a cafe as well, and it'll have a drive-through window for people to come to pick up beignets all day long, have coffee, drinks, whatever, a Wi-Fi connections in our coffee shop so people can come in and visit and use the Wi-Fi with their computers or whatever. So these are some of the things that we decided we would do over 10 years, well, about 10 years ago. And one step at a time, one day at a time, we have been successful. The only mandate that our board gave us was that those businesses had to make enough money to pay the people who were working in them. They would, you know, take on the task of paying for the buildings themselves, but the businesses had to be such that the people that were working there had to make minimum wage, and they could not be in the red. So we've accomplished that and more. We have yard crews that go out every day, and we have people without disabilities working on those crews as well. The same thing as our janitorials. They go to businesses in the daytime where they know the people in those office buildings. They communicate with them, and they do a great job. I think they have like 40 contracts. So we also have a pepper jelly and salsa business, and it is in 30 locations. Rouse's, I'm sure all of you are familiar with the Rouse's stores. We're in 11 Rouse's stores in New Orleans and Thibodaux, Houma, and wherever else they'll let us put our products. And the people who make the products go out every day and deliver to those stores, so that's also community integration. And they also make minimum wage. And that's, you know, we looked at what we had to do and not what we couldn't do.
Hi, my name is Ashley Bouillon, and I'm honored to present this award to one of my closest friends, Jane Ray Bernier. Whatever she wants, she goes out and gets, and the NOLA Disability Pride Fest was an idea that she had for years and came up with a strategic plan, and we have never done anything traditionally. We work together, we play together, and so like us, we both came up here together to speak about this award. And I'm so honored to be here today because this festival not only shows that people with disability are a part of the community, but that we can be together, and I get people come up to me at least once a week to tell me what a big support that this festival has been to them.
Ashley's one of my closest friends too. I want to thank my mom who's here for fostering in me the eclectic and the feisty. And I really want to thank my board members and team members who are here, Tim K. Kraft and Allie Beth Kaufman and Ashley Bolian, and so many people who couldn't be here today who were instrumental in getting this festival to happen. A festival is not a one-person job. Neither is the Quirky Citizens Alliance, which is our self-advocacy, pride and social group that we've been building for the past 3 years. It and the festival is a place for us to be ourselves, be proud of ourselves, for ourselves and nobody else. And yeah, we all, you know who you are, we all rock, and we'll see you there April 2018.
Hello again. Thank you. I'm truly honored to be standing here to receive this award. I would not have been able to do it myself without the passionate people I work with, like Paula Rodriguez, Melody Sparks, with the Deaf Focus Group, Jimmy Gore from Deaf Grassroots Movement of Louisiana, David Holland from Deaf Action Center, Representative Pat Smith, members of the Louisiana Commission for the Deaf, Amy Zapata, Bambi Palazola, Bruce Parker, and of course the governor for signing the 2 legislative actions into law this year, which positively impact our community. I must thank all of the interpreters who worked and put up with me through this legislative session. And please forgive me if I've forgotten anyone else. You know who you are. Advocating for my community has a lot of hard work, and I've also been a rewarding experience, joy, a privilege, and I'm grateful for every single accomplishment we have made thus far. The work is far from over. We are fighting for the very same equality and accessibility, language acquisition, and employment opportunities afforded to those who can hear and take these for granted. Here in Louisiana, the situation is not good. There are so many obstacles that need to be knocked down and everyone involved. And so many kids who are deprived of their birthright language, American Sign Language, and are left behind to slip through the cracks because society does not understand us as a whole, American Sign Language. How does that help everyone involved? To slip through the cracks. Here in Louisiana, the situation is not good. There are many obstacles that need to be taken down and eliminated. There are many kids who are deprived of their language, American Sign Language. I was born in Massachusetts, raised in Massachusetts, and they are left behind to slip through the cracks, to have a perfect that do not understand us as a deaf individual. How does that help everyone involved? We need an understanding between all parties involved to push for the success of our deaf-friendly Louisiana. I was born in Massachusetts, raised in Massachusetts with deaf parents. I've been very fortunate to have a perfect recipe for personal growth as a deaf individual. I've lived through a system that is far advanced in terms of progress. And I'm to bring that experience here to Louisiana. If we all work together to develop common ground, we can see that perfect harmony with other deaf individuals is what I strive for. Thank you very much.
And congratulations to all the winners. Julie, it's been a while since we were in Raceland Middle School's principal's office. Mark, Lily, and the rest of the recipients, y'all are well-deserved. But I get the honor of presenting the Distinguished Merit Award to Ashley McReynolds. I've had the pleasure of working with Ashley McReynolds, but work does not really quantify or describe what Ashley McReynolds does. I could list her accomplishments that she's not done alone for sure, because we have to work as a team, but I'll give you just a flavor of the range of what she has done at a systems level. When we realized that students with disabilities were more likely to exit school by dropping out than graduating, she was instrumental in getting Act 833 passed to change the criteria for graduation for kids with disabilities. A few years later, when people with disabilities who had left school previously had earned all their Carnegie credits and said, what about me? I can't get a job. The council, I work for the Developmental Disabilities Council, and we said, you know, why don't we wait on that for a year? Ashley said, I don't think so, because that's one more year these people don't have an opportunity. She's developed relationships to the point where when the bill that was to present that option for people who had exited to get that diploma, John Schroeder, Representative Schroeder, was ill, couldn't make it. So he called her up. His only error was he also called me up and said, go help her. Because of, I attribute it to my misspeaking, there was a little snafu, but thanks to Senator Claytor, who's been a champion, and the voice that Ashley has brought to the legislature, they got it done anyway. I could tell you that there are about 12 people that I trust that understand the education funding system in Louisiana. It's complicated. When we realized that schools were not getting the resources they needed, and charter schools were not serving their fair share of kids, and they were still taking their money, Ashley learned the minimum foundation program, explained it to legislators, explained it to parents, explained it to everyone who needed to understand it. And again, thanks to Senator Claytor, Act 467 addressed that. I could share that as we try to get services in the community, and we realize that some regions don't have all the resources they need, and it depends on where you live with respect to whether you have access to certain services. And this is one of the regions that not only was not providing their fair share of resources. Ashley was instrumental in getting people to testify and bring that issue to the table to require that the human service districts and authorities put enough money to serve people with disabilities. But that's just policy. That's not people. What's more remarkable to me is that after we do that, we know that there's a lot of legwork that needs to happen so that those laws get implemented. And more difficult even is educating parents and supporting parents in understanding those changes and how to advocate for themselves. And I have witnessed Ashley at every level, at the rulemaking, at districts or parishes or providers and teachers, explaining it to them and to parents and laying it out to them. Because the legislators can only do so much. The rest of us have to do the rest. I'm convinced if every one of us was more like Ashley, we would move along a whole lot faster in giving everyone the opportunities they need. Everyone with disabilities would have improved access to the support services and outcomes to live independently and to be contributing members of the community. I'll tell you some unfinished work she has started. When she learned that waivers, or the way the Medicaid system is set up, because the Medicaid system was set up to be institutionalized, to pay hospitals and providers and not to provide services to people where they want them. She said, oh no. So she went to Congress and she's starting to educate them. And I have no doubt I will see the day when she makes that change as well to our system. So that's just her accomplishments. And I think they're enough to be proud of. But when I think of the Gold Awards, and it's a leadership for disability, and I thought of what leadership requires, and it requires vision, and she certainly has that. She understands where the system should be. It requires knowledge, and she has made sure that even though she's the mother, and she's the mother of a child with a disability who keeps her up at night, and oftentimes when I'm talking to her, I realize she's not slept that night, maybe the night before as well. And she has a lovely daughter and she wants to make sure she goes to all of her volleyball games and help her along in life. And she has a very supportive husband, Chris. But when I look at all the policies and the knowledge base and the passion and drive, and I realize none of the things she has done directly impact her. And it was this year at the legislature when they were discussing cutting optional programs, and she actually testified. And what really struck me was when a number of legislators said, we have seen you here for 5 or 6 years supporting other people speak, never realized the challenges you face and your story. And that spoke volumes to me about the person she is. And so with that, I'm just deeply honored to present to her the Distinguished Merit Award.
Well, I'm not sure how I'm going to follow up to that. But first, let me just say what an absolute honor it is to be here today to accept this award, to be surrounded by other amazing advocates, both parents, individuals with disabilities themselves, state officials. It's truly a humbling experience for me today to be here. As Sean mentioned, advocacy for me is not about my son. It's not about Cooper. It's not about his syndrome. It is about changing a system here in Louisiana to better the lives of everybody, but specifically those for individuals with disabilities. In 2006, my life drastically changed. But I really didn't have an idea of just how much it had changed until 2012, when I began advocating for what I thought at the time was going to be advocating for my son, which has since turned into advocating for systems change here in Louisiana. I would not be here today if it weren't for my tribe. They say find your tribe and love them hard. I love each and every one of them hard. So I have, I have some of my most favorite tribe here. To my parents who flew in, my husband Chris in the back, my daughter Madison, my son Cooper, to my soul sister, Liz Gary, who without Act 833 and so many other things would not be possible, to Miss Laureen Mayfield, who was the vision of Act 833, to Miss April Dunn, who is an amazing self-advocate who keeps me going every day, to my mother-in-law, Miss Betty McReynolds, to a dear friend, Miss Kelly Monroe, who reminds me every day just to keep going even when times get tough, and to Sean Fleming, who probably gets me and understands me better than most anybody, and to the council for giving me the opportunity to lead and be a leader in LACAN, an organization who has changed the lives of people for over 30 years. And I just continue, and I'm grateful for the people before me, and I just continue to try and follow in their footsteps on a path that they have already laid the foundation on. So with that, thank you to everybody. This is an amazing day for all of us. I'm humbled to accept this award, so thank you.
That concludes our program. I want to thank everyone for coming here today, and let's give another round of applause for all of our Gold Award winners. I want to thank our staff in the Governor's Office, Jolyn Jolivet, who's the Assistant Director in the Governor's Office of Disability Affairs, Jessica Lewis, who is our Executive Director for the Statewide Independent Living Council, Jamar, who we may not be here today if it was not for Jamar Ennis, who was in the past in the Governor's Office of Disability Affairs and now is the Executive Director of the Louisiana Youth for Excellence program within the Governor's Office. I also want to thank everyone within the Governor's Office of Program and Planning,
Bruce Parker, who is our direct supervisor, Johnny Anderson, who is the Deputy Chief of Staff, as well as Governor Edwards and First Lady Donna Edwards for their continued support.
I want to thank everyone that came out today, and we had so many great winners this year, and even everyone that was nominated. They were all amazing, and it's just great to be surrounded by so many people that care.
I can't believe I did win, but I'm very humble to receive it. It's a Veteran of the Year award. So at the age of 54, I'm very blessed and honored that people have seen my good work, and I just want to continue to do and be passionate about helping veterans in Louisiana. I work for a Veteran Upward Bound program, and I started a mission work on campus for veterans, college veterans, and also community veterans called VETS. And it's an acronym that says Veterans Eager to Succeed. I want to give thanks to my wife of 33 years and the support of all my family members and friends and co-workers.
Pretty exciting to be at the Capitol with my team and let all these other advocates know about our project, and so they can come to our festival in 2018. NOLA Disability Pride Fest is a one-day festival celebrating disability, arts, culture, entrepreneurship, social space, pride, activism, joy, connection, excitement, food. Advocacy is a really big undertaking, and it helps to have your community be your friends. We need to build a community before we can bury ourselves in the advocacy that needs to happen. There are a lot of people already doing that advocacy, and we're among them, but we need our disability culture. We need a place where we can feel safe, where we can feel proud, where we can be ourselves. We need to make it a welcoming and open space for other people to find us.
They can go to the governor's website, which is gov.la.gov, and we are one of the programs that's on his website, Disability Affairs. We have newsletters, calendars, information. We will actually have this Gold Awards posted on our website for the rest of the year, so people can go and look at the Gold Awards.